Hello guys, and welcome to this video where I'm going to talk about the new release of the first version 6 file, and I'm going to explain you what a version 6 is and why are there not going to be, unfortunately, that many. But the good thing is that there are going to be some, and I'm going to explain you why a version 6 file are going to be scarce. First of all, I've chosen this Drauchevsky design, amazing PBR scenery is developed by Stanislaw Drauchevsky. He's one of the most experienced designers, developers in the world. He's been doing this for almost 30 years. He's crazy about everything that has to that is related to aviation. He's a pilot himself. I am too, and I've a lot of things that I have found in common with him, and I appreciate very much everything that he's done with. For the sim community in particular, but in general. But for Cartayna Files, he's been very supportive, sharing all his scenery so we can have nice GSX configurations for them. And not many of the developers do that because many of the developers like us to be messing with their sceneries, but. Well, I think Stanislaw is a very smart guy, and he knows that we want to use the sceneries to have fun, and this is what we're doing, having fun with Chicago. Now, let me explain you what is a V6. Now, if you go to the forum page the Facebook group page, where you're going to find the list of sceneries. And if you go to the link, you're going to find a small, okay, we have one open here, okay? You're going to find to the right, here's all the 85 configuration as of today. This will keep on growing. We have very few dynamic light configurations. I'll be working on that because they're very scarce. And there are some airports that really need them. Now, on the right, you're going to find this chart that is going to explain you what a V6 has. And one of the things that a V6 has, the V6 version of Cartayna File configuration has, is the perfect pushbacks. And the perfect pushbacks, not using the AFCAT, they're very precise. And they're also tested, each and every one of them. Chicago, it's one of the largest airports in the world. It was the busiest airport till not so long ago. Now it's Atlanta, of course, but it has over, I think it's 260. We're gonna see here, which is something I'll show you in a minute what this Excel is about. And yeah, it has over 258 actually. 258 parking places, and each and single one of them has been done and tested with the pushbacks. Now, that's one of the reasons that it takes a long time, because of the size, and also because on a V6 file I do research on the pushbacks, and I do research on a chart that once you download, which is going to be available tonight, the 30th of August, you're going to have this sheet that comes with Chicago that is going to show you not only the parking place sort by size, by gate. This is one of the reasons I use Excel, is because it allows you to sort things out. But it comes with this huge, panel that shows you the real life airlines, where do they fly from, on which terminal, on which concourse. And and also you can find on this list which is the recommended parking size planes for every parking place and so forth. Now, this alone takes a huge amount of time, because you really have to go airline by airline on the websites and try to find out which are the departing and arriving terminals. Okay, this alone is a nightmare. So, but the other thing I do research on is the pushbacks. Now, on Cartayna Files, you probably don't know this, you don't know this for sure, that I had the luck of having some professional pilots. For example, in Denver, I was speaking with a retired first officer who used to fly in and out of Denver. That is not a V6 file, it might be in the future, but in the case of, in many other airports, I've had the luck to talk with real truck drivers, that they've given me some input on certain information that I was not aware, and that I really doubt that the pushbacks were done in an orderly fashion, like normal nose to the right, nose to the left, which is the only thing that we were be able to do in the past using the AFCAD. Now, thanks to the release of version 2.6, we are not slave to the AFCAD anymore, and we can do more creative pushbacks. But also, you need to do a lot of research. Now, for example, this is the terminal. This is Concourse C of Terminal 1, which is exactly where I'm placed right now. And I want to show you what they did on Chicago. As I told you before, Chicago was the largest airport, or the busiest airport in the world. It now is not anymore. Now it's Atlanta. It's the 8th now. But for a long time, since it's built around the city or next to the city, they had to come with some creative ideas regarding the congestion of the traffic within the airport. So one of the ideas they came up with, which is brilliant, is they came up with this. You see these white, yellow lines around and behind the planes and the parkings. Sometimes they have two options, and sometimes they have one option. That's because those are the only pushback options that the truck driver is going to offer the pilot. Okay. Now, if you're offered a nose to the, if you have to go nose to the right because you're going a runway on that direction, the plane has to stop on top of this line in here, and the wheel should be on top of this square here. Now, sometimes these squares are yellow, sometimes they're white, but they're for the wheel to land on when you're doing a pushback. Now, this of course takes a long time to do the research, because you have to do the research on every terminal. Some parking positions are complicated. This is pretty straightforward once you know what the lines are for, of course. But this terminal itself, this concourse Charlie, has also heavy planes on it with double jetways. Okay, now the heavy planes are giving more options, and they're even more complex. Okay, you see all these yellow lines are not as easy as you can find on these ones over here. Now in these ones you can have even 3 pushbacks, but as for now, GSX only offers you 2 possibilities, and we're using 2 of them, enough for you to have a realistic experience with the pushback. And now this is one of the peculiarities about Chicago, and you find them, as I say, on Concourse B and C, these yellow white lines. You also find them on Concourse F, which we're going to go right now in a minute if I don't crash the plane. And Concourse F, if I'm not wrong, is right here. Okay, in Concourse F, which flights is used only for planes the size of a CRG, and since it's you can only exit the terminal of the concourse by not by this way going south. You're only offered, of course, one option, and the plane should be placed on top of this yellow-white line. All the V6 configurations, they're giving you the exact parking, the exact pushback position, and not only I have to design it, I have to test it, which means that I have to do the pushbacks on both directions if 2 directions are offered, and test each and one of them. That alone takes over 100 hours. Okay, full V6 configuration of an airport such as Chicago will probably take you, if you're good with GSX, it will take you approximately 200 hours. So that's one of the reasons they're not going to be available as often as I would like. And now let me tell you another thing, that the pushbacks are done in Chicago. Now in Chicago, they have all these concourses that are dead ends, and dead ends for a ground controller, which I do, by the way, in VATSIM in the Spanish division, and I usually control in Madrid. But for a ground controller is the worst thing that you can have, because it creates bottlenecks and congestions and so forth. So they came also with a pretty brilliant idea, and you can see these taxi lines in here are called West, Central, and East. Okay, Whiskey, Charlie, and Echo. Now why are they like that, and why do we have two taxi lanes? Well, of course, you're going to find the solution of an explication of that in the research that you do for an airport. Now, this is the case, the one that I show you for next to, adjacent to the heavy on Concourse C. They are only offered one pushback option, and that option is drawn in a yellow-white line. Stanislaw Drauczewski drew these lines in yellow, full yellow, but they're the same. You know, it doesn't make any difference, and they mean the same in aviation. There's no difference whatsoever. Now, in here, when you're offered in a Cartayna V6, in this Cartayna configuration, you're going to offer to do pushback to the left, in this case of this parking positions over here, because you can only push back to the left because you have to exit that way. But you're going to be offered to be pushing back on Whiskey or in Echo. Okay, Charlie, from what I know, is not frequently used, because I think it's probably used when the planes are bigger. But since, for example, on this concourse, Golf and Hotel, I don't think that you get anything bigger than a small aircraft. I think in this one you get mediums, but on those over there you only get small. And so maybe the controller might take the medium plane aircraft through Charlie, but that very, very rarely happens. And since we only have two options, I'm giving you the option of Whiskey and Echo, which are the real life procedures. Okay, this pretty much explains what a Cartayna file version 6 is. It also comes with some I think things that are, you're going to find them interesting. This is going to be the first configuration that is going to come with an installer. Now, the reason why I developed an installer, which is kind of a pain in the ass to do, is because sharing configurations now, if you want to share a configuration that has also logos, it gets a little trickier, you know, because you have to share folders, subfolders, and subfolders, and they have to be on the same place. So I took the time and I designed for you guys an installer that is going to install the files on the right location. Now, you're going to have one for the glass version and you're going to have one for the metal. You're going to find here also the instructions. The first line has been changed by the installer, and it's going to tell you what you have to switch to off. In the case of Chicago by Drauczewski, you have to switch to off its soda file, and where to find that soda file, that's pretty easy. You can do this same thing with the installer. There's going to be a video on how to use the installer, so I'm not going to get too much into it, but you're going to copy paste those things and it's going to tell you where the file is. And here's Kilo Oscar Romeo Delta, which I already have switched off to have my jetways available. And also, if you want to get rid of some small bridges that the scenery has that are on the way of the configuration itself, you're going to have to be setting that file to off. It's within the Chicago X folder scenery of the scenery, and just set to off that file over there, and you're set to go. And enjoy this scenery because it's really brilliant. It's all developed in PBR. Stanislaw has also worked a lot on the lighting, which is something that I really appreciate, so I don't have to do dynamic light configuration for this scenery. It looks beautiful at night, and I think it's been very prudent about the illumination, but you can see the plane perfectly. And I think it's very smart to be prudent with the lighting because it really eats a lot of frame rates, especially on an airport this size. Everything else, I love the way that the textures have been developed, and the ground, they're brilliant, and the way you can see inside of the terminal. The glass textures are amazing, especially at day, of course. And I love the way that the Hilton Hotel has been done. You can see reflections on all the glass over there, on all the terminals. But I think the best way to find out is you go and buy one. There will be a link. There's a link on the instructions. If you press on Sim Market, it will take you directly to the shop where you can get this radiant scenery. And congratulations, Stanislaw. And this is my tribute to you. And I hope you guys enjoy it. There's also there was a V4 configuration file in Cartayna Files that by the time you see this video is going to be removed. There's no purpose in having something that is of a lower quality than this one. And I hope you guys enjoy it. Bye bye.